Hello everyone. Today's topic is polymer structure. In this part, we will discuss about polymers, the chemistry of polymer, different type of polymer structure, its molecular configuration, molecular shape, polymer crystallinity. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so what is polymer? Polymer is a substance or material consisting of very large molecules or macromolecules composed of many repeating subunits. Both synthetic and natural polymers plays essential roles in our everyday life. Polymers range from synthetic plastics such as polystyrene to natural biopolymers like DNA and proteins that are fundamental to biological structure and function. Both natural and synthetic polymers are created via polymerizations. So, the term polymer stands for poly means many, mer means repeating unit. That means its structure is composed of multiple repeating units. Okay, so as I said that it can be natural occurring polymers and it can be synthetic polymers. Okay, the natural occurring polymers are derived from plants and animals and have been used for many centuries. That is, these materials include like wool, wood, natural rubber, cotton, leather, and silk. Okay. Other natural polymers are like proteins, enzymes, starches, and cellulose are important in biological and physiological process in plants and animals. Okay. And synthetic polymers are like polyethylene, polypropylene, polystyrene, polyvinyl chloride, synthetic rubber, etc. Okay. So most commonly the continuously linked backbone of a polymer used for the preparation of plastics consists of mainly of carbon atoms. Okay, so if we take a simple example of polyethylene whose repeating unit is based on ethylene monomer. Okay, here you can see in the figure what is the repeating unit of a polymeric chain. Okay. Okay. So before going to discuss detail about polymer structure, first we have to know about the chemistry of polymer molecules, that is how the polymer molecules are formed. Okay. So here considering the ethylene hydrocarbon ethylene gas, which is gas at ambient temperature and pressure, you know that its molecular structure is C2H4. Now if the ethylene gas is reacted under appropriate conditions, it will transform to polyethylene, that is a solid polymeric material. So this process begins when an active center is formed by the reaction between an initiator and the monomer unit. Okay, so initiator is R dot. As you see, the initiator is R dot and the monomer unit is C2H4, that is the ethylene monomer. That is the repeating unit. Okay, so the polymer chain then forms by the sequential addition of these monomer units to the active growing chain, to this active growing chain molecule, to this active site. Okay, and the unpaired electron is transferred to each successive end of monomer. Okay, so this is represented as follows, and when the final result will be after the addition of many ethylene monomer units is the polyethylene molecule, that is nothing but a polymer, a solid polymeric material. Okay, so this is the chemistry behind the formation of polymer molecules. Okay, so when all the repeating units that the monomers are the same, the molecule is called a homopolymer. That is, the resulting polymer is called a homopolymer when all the repeating units are same. But when there is more than one type of repeating units or monomer present, then the molecule is called a copolymer. Okay. When the monomer units have two active bonds to connect with each with other monomers are called bifunctional, and when the monomer units that have three active bonds to connect with other monomers are called trifunctional. Okay, trifunctional, they form three-dimensional molecular network structure. The example of trifunctional polymer is phenolformaldehyde, and as you know, the bifunctional polymeric material will be example of bifunctional polymeric material is polyethylene. Now the degree of polymerization. Degree of polymerization is nothing but the number of monomeric units in a macromolecule or polymer molecule. Okay, for a homopolymer there is only one type of monomeric unit, and the number average degree of polymerization is given by this equation, that is where Mn is the number average molecular weight and M is the molecular weight of monomer unit. Okay, so it is related to the number average molecular weight. Degree of polymerization is related to the number average molecular weight. Okay, so this number for most industrial purposes, degree of polymerization in the thousands, degree of polymerization in the thousands or tens of thousands are desired. Okay, so this number doesn't reflect the variation in molecule size of polymer. Okay, it only represents the mean number of monomeric units. Okay. Okay, so after synthesis, the molecule can change its shape by rotation about the single carbon-carbon bonds in the backbone. Okay, if there is a single bond between the atoms, it can be rotated or bent anywhere. The particular arrangement of the chain due to this rotation is called the conformation. The angles between bonds around a carbon atom in the backbone are approximately 109 degrees. Okay, so here is a schematic representation of how polymer chain shape is influenced by the backbone carbon atoms. Okay, so in figure A, the rightmost atoms can be lie anywhere on the dashed circles, but still it can be in a 109 degree angle with the bond between the other two atoms. And in figure B and C, it is shown that the straight and twisted chain segments are generated when backbone atoms are situated like this. Okay. Okay. So molecular structure. Physical properties of a polymer depends on different type of molecular structure. There are different type of molecular structure like linear, branched, cross-linked, network molecular structure. First of all, the linear polymer. it represents in figure A, as you can see. In linear polymer, the repeating units are joined together in a single chain. These long chains are flexible as because there are van der Waals and hydrogen bonding between the chains. Some of the common polymers that have these linear structures are polyethylene, polystyrene, polymethyl, nylon, polyvinyl chloride, fluorocarbons. Okay. Now the next one is branched polymers. It is represented in figure B. After the synthesis, polymers in which the side branch chains are connected to the main chain are called branched polymers. These branched are actually considered as the part of the main chain molecule, okay, and resulted from the side reaction that occurs during this synthesis process of the polymer. When branched is formed, the packing efficiency is reduced in polymer molecules. That results the lower density in the polymer molecules. For an example, high density polyethylene has a linear polymer structure, whereas the low density polyethylene has a branched polymer structure. Okay. Now the next one is cross-linked polymers. In cross-linked polymers, as you can see in figure C, the adjacent linear chains are joined to each other at various positions by covalent bonds. Okay. So this cross-linking is actually accomplished by addition of atoms or molecules that are covalently bonded to the chains. Many rubber elastic materials are cross-linked. This cross-linking process in rubber is called vulcanization process. We will discuss this vulcanization process later. So in cross-linking polymers, the bonds are covalent bonds, whereas in linear polymers, the bonds are van der Waals and hydrogen bonds. Okay. The next one is network polymers. It is a three-dimensional molecular structure. When multifunctional monomers forming three or more active covalent bonds make three-dimensional networks are termed as network polymers. These polymers are actually highly cross-linked and it looks like network. Okay. Like phenyl formaldehyde, epoxies are such materials which has this type of polymer structures. So if we just take a look of molecular configurations of polymer molecules, by structure wise, as I said that in previous slide, that it can be linear, branched, cross-linked, network polymers. Now linear and branched polymers can be subdivided according to its isomeric state, that is stereoisomers, geometrical isomers. Stereoisomers can be isotactic, syndiotactic, atactic, and geometrical isomers can be cis isomers. can be cis structured isomers, trans structured isomers. So we will now discuss about this part, that is the isomeric state of polymer molecules. Okay, so if we look at the molecular configuration of polymer molecules, there are two configurations can be happen, that is head to head configuration and head to tail configuration. Okay, here R represents an atom or side group other than hydrogen, that may be chlorine, that may be methane. Okay, so one arrangement is possible when the R side groups of successive repeat units are bound to alternate carbon atoms. This configuration is called as a head to tail configuration. Okay, and another configuration when these successive repeat units are bound to adjacent chain atoms is called head to head configuration. In most polymers, the head to tail configurations are there. Often a polar repulsion occurs between R groups for the head to head configuration. Okay, so in head to tail configuration, according to its isomerism, according to the isomeric state, there are different type of configurations are there, like isotactic configuration, syndiotactic configuration, atactic configuration. These configurations are called stereoisomerism. So stereoisomerism is nothing but the situation in which atoms are linked together in the same order but in different spatial arrangement. Okay, it is happened only in head to tail configuration. So for one stereoisomer, if all the R groups are situated on the same side of the chain, is called isotactic configurations. Okay, and in syndiotactic configuration, all the R groups are in alternate sides of chain, as you can see in the figure. Okay, and if the position of the R groups are randomly ordered, is called atactic configurations. Okay. So stereoisomerism occurs when there are single bond between the carbon atoms, but when there are double bonds between the carbon atoms, there are another possible chain configurations are there, which is called geometrical isomerism. When the group of atoms, that is represented here as a CH3, and the hydrogen atoms are in the same side of the double bond, is called as a cis structured isomerism, where the CH3 group and the H atoms are positions on the same side of the double bond. Okay, so this is resulted the polymer is called the cis structured polymer molecular configuration. Okay, in natural rubber, this type of structure can be found. When the group of atom, that is CH3 here, and the hydrogen are reside on opposite side of the double bond, is called the trans-structured geometrical isomerism. Okay. Okay, so thermoplastic and thermosetting polymers is another subdivisions of polymers, that is the response of a polymer to mechanical forces at elevated temperature. So first of all, thermoplastic polymers are softened when it is heated, and eventually it is liquefied, and it becomes hard when it is cooled. So these processes are totally reversible and can be repeated. So when the temperature is high, the secondary bonding forces between the polymer chain are diminished, so that the relative movement of adjacent chains is facilitated when a stress is applied. Okay. So when the temperature is too high, the reversible process may not be done, but these thermoplastics are relatively soft, and most linear structured polymers and some branch structured polymers with flexible chains are thermoplastic. Okay, so the main properties of thermoplastic polymer is that, I repeat, that when it is heated, it becomes softened, eventually liquefied, and when it is cooled, it becomes hard, and this process can be reversible. It is possible because of the weak intermolecular forces between the polymer chains, and it is found in most of the linear polymers and some of the branched polymers too. So some common example of thermoplastic polymers included polyethylene, polyvinyl chloride, polystyrene, etc. Now the thermosetting polymers. Thermosetting polymers are mainly network polymers or cross-linked polymers. They become permanently hard during their formation, okay, and do not soften upon heating. Okay. Unlike the thermoplastic polymer, thermosetting polymers are hard, permanently hard during their formation. When it is heated, it cannot be softened. Okay. Network polymers have, as because they are the network polymers having strong covalent bonds between the polymer chains, it cannot be break by, or it cannot be diminished when the temperature is raised. Okay. So during heat treatment, these covalent bonds anchor the chains together to resist the vibrational or rotational chain motions. Okay. So that's why the materials do not soften when heated. Okay. So this is the main fundamental properties of thermoplastic polymer and thermosetting polymers. Okay. So now the copolymers. As we know that in copolymers there are more than one type of monomer unit. According to that, we can say that there are 4 different type of copolymers, like random, alternating, block and graft copolymer. The 2 different repeat units here are represented by blue and red circle. Okay. So first, in random copolymer, these 2 repeating units can be dispersed randomly along the chain. Okay. As it is dispersed randomly, it is named as a random copolymer. In alternating copolymer, the 2 repeat units disperse alternatively along the chain. Okay. And next one is block copolymer. In block copolymer, the identical repeat units form a cluster in blocks along the chain. Okay. So it looks like block by block. Okay, that's why it's called block copolymer. And in graft copolymer, the main chain will be a same type of monomer unit, and the branched one will be the same type of repeating unit. Okay, so this type of copolymer is called the graft copolymer. I think this schematic representation will clear the concept of arrangements of molecular configuration of copolymers. Okay. Okay. Now polymer crystal. It is noticed that a semicrystalline polymer consists of crystalline regions and amorphous region. Okay. If we examine the single polymer crystal, the structure of the crystalline regions can be described as a regularly shaped thin platelets, or this can be said as a lamella. It is approximately 10 to 20 nanometer thick, and these platelets will form a multi-layered structure. Okay. The molecular chains within each platelet fold back and forth on themselves with folds occurring at the faces. These structures is called chain folded model, and it is shown in the figure. As you can see, each platelet will consist of a number of molecules. However, the average chain length will be greater than the thickness of this platelet. So, I repeat that in chain folded model, the platelets will form a multi-layered structure. It is approximately 10 to 20 nanometer thick, and the molecular chains within each platelet will be like fold back and forth on themselves, occurring at the faces, with folds occurring at the faces. So this type of structure is called chain folded model. Many polymers that are crystallized, that are in process of crystallization from a melt stage, are, when it is in semicrystalline form, they form a spherulite structure. Okay. Each spherulite may grow to be roughly spherical in shape. One of them is found in natural rubber. The spherulite consists of ribbon-like chain-folded crystallities or lamellas. Okay, that is radiated outward from a single nucleation site. In this, lamella appear as a white line, and here you can see that the tie chains are acted as a connecting links between the adjacent lamellae, passes through the amorphous region. Okay. So, as the crystallization of a spherulite structure near to the completion process, the extremities of adjacent spherulites begin to impinge on one another, forming a planar boundaries. Okay, so at first, when it is in semi-crystalline form, they are in spherical shape, and when the crystallization is about to complete, it begins to impinge on one another and form a planar boundary. Okay, so this is the actual structure of polymer crystal. Okay. Okay, so in our previous slide, we discussed about the crystal structure of polymer, the chain folded model, and the spherulite structure when it is in semi-crystalline form, and when it is about to complete its crystal structure, crystalline stage, it becomes impinged to one another and form a planar boundary. Okay, now this how the polymer crystallinity is measured in a material. It is nothing but the polymer crystallinity is nothing but the packing of molecular chains to produce an ordered atomic array. This can be measured by this formula, where rho s is the density of a specimen for which the percent crystallinity has to be determined. Rho A is the density of the totally amorphous polymer, and rho C is the density of the perfectly crystalline polymer. The rho A and rho C, the values of rho and rho C must be measured by the experiment, of course. So that is how the crystallinity, percent of crystallinity in a polymeric material can be found. Okay, this is a problem according to the density and percent of crystallinity of polymer. Please go through this. You can find the solution in your book. Okay. Okay, defects in polymers are different concept than metals in ceramics. In this in the polymer, impurity atoms or ions or group of atoms may be incorporated in the molecular structure as interstitials. They may also be associated with main chains or as a side branch in branched polymers. Okay. Further, the surface of chain folded layers can be considered to be interfacial defects. Okay. Moreover, the dangling chain, the loose chain ends, the vacancy atoms, the edge dislocations, the non-crystalline regions are the defects which can be found in polymers. So these are the these are the defects which is found in polymers. Okay.